I'll spite.
Have you ever listened to a highly skilled English speaker,
Oh, yeah.
like maybe a presenter on a really big stage,
Yeah.
or even just a popular video creator,
Yeah.
and you just wondered why their speech is so perfectly easy to follow,
Mm-hmm.
even when the topic is, incredibly complex, like quantum physics or macroeconomics.
Right. Topics that should be confusing.
Exactly. But you never feel lost.
Yeah.
You understand every single point. You feel completely engaged.
Yeah.
And then you listen to someone else talk about that exact same topic, and it just feels like you are trapped in a confusing maze.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Right. You lose your focus, you
Yeah.
check your phone, and you pretty much just stop listening entirely.
Yeah.
What is the difference there? I mean, what is the secret ingredient that makes some speakers so effortlessly easy to understand?
Well, it is a really fascinating difference. And, the answer is not about having a massive vocabulary.
Okay.
It's not about having perfect, flawless grammar either. Yeah, the secret is something we can call the invisible language. So today, we are going to learn about a concept called metadiscourse.
Metadiscourse. Okay, I have to admit that sounds like a very heavy academic word.
It does a bit, yeah.
It sounds like something you only study in a university linguistics class. What does it actually mean in, everyday English?
To put it simply, metadiscourse means language about language, or discourse about discourse.
Language about language.
Right. Think about it this way. When we speak, we are not just delivering raw facts.
Okay.
We use a secondary layer of language to organize those facts and to connect with the people who are listening to us. So metadiscourse is that secondary layer. It is the language that actually manages the conversation.
Oh, I see. I like to think about this using the analogy of a highway.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, imagine you are driving on a completely new road, maybe in a country you have never visited before.
Okay.
The road itself is the information,
Yeah.
the facts, the data, the core message of the speaker. But if you only have a road with absolutely no signs anywhere, you are going to get lost in about 5 minutes.
Oh, definitely. You'd have no idea where to go.
Exactly. So metadiscourse is the system of road signs. These are the specific words that tell you when to slow down, when to make a sharp turn, what is coming next, and how far you are from your final destination.
That's a perfect analogy. The road signs do not change the physical road itself, but they completely change your experience of driving on it.
Right.
So they remove the panic. So our mission today is to help you, the listener, recognize these exact road signs in English.
Because once you know what to listen for, your listening comprehension will improve instantly.
Yes, you will stop getting lost. And even better, when you start using these signs in your own speech or writing, you will sound much more organized and natural.
And highly engaging to native speakers.
Exactly.
It's a massive upgrade for anyone learning English. So before we go further into the mechanics of this, I want to do a quick comprehension check.
Sounds good.
If you were walking the dog right now, or making coffee, or just sitting at your desk, try to participate. I want you to practice this new word. Repeat the word metadiscourse out loud, and then try to define it in your own words. Take a few seconds. 3-second pause. Okay, if you said something like language about language, or maybe road signs for speaking, you have got the core idea down perfectly.
Spot on. Now, to truly make this concept useful for your daily English, we are going to divide metadiscourse into two main categories.
Okay.
The first category is what we call interactive markers. If we stick with your highway analogy, this category is the map itself.
Right, because before you can take someone on a journey, you need to draw the map.
Exactly.
How do we build this map when we are speaking or writing in English?
Well, we build it by organizing our information so the listener's brain does not have to work too hard.
Okay.
Interactive markers, which are sometimes called metatext, are the structural tools that guide an audience through a speech. They are completely focused on organizing the discourse itself.
Got it.
And we can break this map down into 4 specific types of road sign.
4 types. Okay, what's the first one?
The first type is called a frame marker.
Frame markers. So literally putting a frame around a picture so you know where the edges are.
Precisely. Frame markers outline your structure, they show sequences, or they announce your primary goals.
Can you give an example?
Sure. A speaker might start by saying, first, we will look at the problem. Or, my purpose today is to explain this theory.
Oh, I see.
And then later, they might say, in summary, they are managing the listener's expectations.
I notice I use these a lot when I am leading a meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I do not say, my goal today is to reach a decision on the budget, people will just talk endlessly.
Yes.
The frame marker focuses everyone's attention.
It gives everyone a shared destination. You know where you're going.
Right.
Now, the second type of interactive marker is the transition.
Transitions.
Yeah, these are the logical bridges between ideas. We are talking about words like however, in addition, therefore, or even simply but. They tell the listener exactly how the new sentence relates to the sentence they just heard.
Transitions are crucial.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember reading an early draft of an essay a friend wrote, and the English was technically perfect, like no grammar mistakes at all.
Oh, wow, okay.
But reading it felt like driving over speed bumps.
Oh, no.
It was physically exhausting. And I realized it was because there were zero transitions. It was just fact, fact, fact.
Right.
You need words like, however, to signal, hey, I'm about to show you a contrasting idea.
Exactly. Because without transitions, the listener has to figure out the logical relationship themselves.
Which takes effort.
It creates cognitive fatigue. Your brain gets tired.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But what happens when the logic is clear, but the vocabulary itself is incredibly dense or difficult?
That's a great question.
Because how do we stop the listener from getting stuck on a really hard concept?
Well, this is a very real problem, especially in academic or business English. And this is where we use the third type of marker. It's called a code gloss.
A code gloss.
Yeah. You use a code gloss when you recognize that a concept might be difficult and you need to explain it in a different way to ensure clarity.
Oh, like when I say, let's unpack this.
Yes, exactly. Or when a speaker says, in other words, or for example.
Oh.
Or maybe, to put it simply, you are intentionally pausing the forward momentum of the speech to make sure the audience understands the code. You are translating complex language into simpler language within the exact same sentence.
You know, if I hear someone say, in other words, my brain instantly relaxes
Right.
because I know the speaker is about to simplify the complex thing they just said. It is a fantastic trick for improving your listening comprehension. Just wait for the code gloss.
It really is. It's a lifesaver.
So we have frames, we have transitions, and we have code glosses. What is the fourth way we build them out?
The fourth type is called an endophoric marker.
Endophoric.
Yeah, the word sounds complex, but the action is very simple. It means pointing backward or forward in the text or speech.
Pointing backward or forward.
Right. For example, a speaker might say, as I mentioned earlier, or we will get to that specific point later.
Okay, but why is it so important to point backward? Why not just keep moving forward with new information?
Well, it's because of the strict limits of human working memory.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. When you are listening to a long presentation in English, your working memory fills up very quickly. You just cannot hold every single fact in your head.
Right. That's impossible.
So when a speaker uses an endophoric marker, like as we saw in the first chart, they're acting as a cognitive relief valve. They're doing the memory work for you. They're connecting the current moment back to something you might have forgotten.
That is so helpful. So just to review, we use frame markers for structure, transitions for logic, code glosses for clarity, and endophoric markers to help the listener's memory.
Perfect summary.
This all makes perfect sense, but I actually want to push back on something here.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Because it is a problem I see constantly with English learners. In traditional language schools, students are often taught to use very rigid, formal frame markers.
Well, I know where you're going with this.
Right. They are drilled to say, firstly, secondly, thirdly, finally.
Yes.
But when someone speaks like that in a normal conversation, they sound a bit like a robot reading a textbook aloud.
They really do.
So how can a speaker use these structure markers but still sound like a natural human being?
That is a very common issue. Overusing highly formal markers, like firstly and secondly, absolutely sounds unnatural in daily spoken English.
Right.
Subtlety is the key to sounding fluent. Good signposting is brief and conversational.
So instead of a rigid numerical list, what should a speaker actually do?
Well, a skilled speaker will often just use a simple transition clause. For instance, instead of saying, secondly, I will discuss the marketing strategy.
Which sounds very formal.
Exactly. Instead of that, they might say, now that we have covered sales, let's move on to marketing.
Now that we have covered sales, let's move on to marketing. That sounds infinitely smoother. It still guides the listener, it still shows the structure, but it does not hit them over the head with a numbered list.
Exactly. It achieves the exact same structural goal, but it feels conversational. It feels human.
Let's give our listeners a chance to practice this subtle, natural style.
Okay, good idea.
Imagine you are giving a short update at your workplace. You have just finished talking about the budget, and you want to transition to the topic of hiring.
Okay.
How would you say that out loud without using the word secondly? Take a few seconds to try speaking your sentence. 3-second pause.
So,
Okay, if you said something like, so, that covers the budget, now let's look at hiring. Or maybe, with the budget in mind, let's turn to our hiring plan.
beautiful.
If you said that, you are using natural interactive metadiscourse wonderfully.
Yes, you're building a clear, easy-to-read map for your audience. But as we know, having a map is only half the journey.
Right, because a map is incredibly useful, but a long road trip is going to be incredibly boring if you do not connect with the person sitting in the passenger seat.
It'll be a very quiet ride.
Very quiet. And this brings us to the second major half of our metadiscourse system. How do speakers build a genuine relationship with their audience?
To build that relationship, we have to switch from interactive markers to interactional markers.
Interactional.
Yes. If the first category was the map, this category is the bridge between the speaker and the listener.
The bridge. I like that.
Interactional markers are how speakers express their personality. It's how they build solidarity and make the listener feel deeply, personally involved in the communication.
This is where a speech transforms from being merely informative to being truly engaging and memorable.
Exactly.
So let's explore the subcategories of this bridge. What is the first one?
The first, and perhaps the most powerful tool here, is the engagement marker.
Engagement markers.
These are words and phrases explicitly designed to pull the audience directly into the discourse. You are basically demanding their mental participation.
What does that look like in practice? How do you demand participation?
It happens whenever a speaker uses direct questions or commands. Phrases like, "Have you ever wondered?" Or, "Let's look at this graph together."
Okay.
Or maybe, "You can clearly see that this is a major problem."
Oh, so using the word you or the inclusive let's.
Yes.
It feels like it takes a monologue, one person talking at a crowd and magically turns it into a dialogue.
Yes. And linguists actually call this a pseudo-dialogue.
A pseudo-dialogue.
Right. Even though the audience is sitting silently and not actually speaking back mentally, they feel like they are participating in a two-way conversation.
I had a university professor who never used engagement markers.
Oh, boy.
Never. He just stood behind his podium and read his notes to the back wall of the lecture hall.
That sounds rough.
It was impossible to stay awake. Literally impossible. Contrast that with a great teacher who constantly asks, what do you think happens next? Even if they do not wait for an answer.
Right.
The engagement marker forces your brain to wake up.
That is the perfect distinction. Now, the next way to build this bridge is through self-mentions.
Self-mentions.
Yeah. This is when the speaker explicitly references themselves to reduce the perceived distance between them and the audience. They might use pronouns like I or my to show their personal perspective.
Okay.
For example, in my experience. Or, I believe that.
I want to ask about the word we.
Oh, yes.
Because I hear presenters and executives use the word we constantly, even when they're the only person standing on a stage.
Very true.
But I have to admit, the inclusive we sometimes feels a bit fake or manipulative to me, especially when a CEO says something like, we need to work harder. How do you use it genuinely?
That's a really sharp observation. The inclusive we is a double-edged sword. When used poorly, as you noted, it can feel patronizing.
Yeah, very much so.
But when used well, it builds immediate, genuine solidarity. The trick is to use it to share a vulnerability or a universal human experience.
Oh, okay.
If a speaker says, we all struggle to balance our time, they are putting themselves on the exact same level as the audience.
That feels much better. They're saying, I am not just an untouchable expert lecturing you from above. I am a flawed human being facing the exact same challenges you face.
Exactly. It completely changes the power dynamic of the room.
I love that.
And part of managing that power dynamic is also knowing how to manage certainty. Which brings us to a fascinating area of interactional markers, hedges and boosters.
Hedges and boosters. I love these concepts because they impact daily communication so heavily. Let's start with hedges. What are they doing in a sentence?
So a hedge is a word or phrase that shows uncertainty, or alternatively, polite restraint.
Polite restraint.
Right. It opens a dialogue by leaving room for other opinions. We are talking about words like might, perhaps, possibly, or phrases like it seems that.
Okay.
If I say this might be the most effective solution, I am using a hedge. I am intentionally softening my claim.
It feels very polite and very safe.
Yeah.
You're not forcing your opinion on the listener.
Exactly.
And a booster is the exact opposite of that.
Correct. A booster shows absolute, unshakable certainty. It emphasizes your point and effectively closes the dialogue because you are stating something as a definitive fact.
Like what kind of words?
Words like clearly, definitely, in fact, or it is obvious that.
Okay.
If I say it is clearly the most effective solution, I'm using a strong booster.
You know, I have a personal story about this.
Oh, let's hear it.
Early in my career, I was managing a project with a team in another country. And I wrote an email saying, we will definitely finish this by Friday, and it is obvious that the client will love it.
Oh, wow. You used huge boosters.
Huge boosters. My intention was to sound confident and reassuring, but the team read it as me being aggressive and demanding.
I can see that.
I realized later I should have used hedges. I should have said, I hope we might finish by Friday, and it seems likely the client will respond well.
That is a brilliant example. An advanced English speaker knows that choosing between a hedge and a booster is not just about vocabulary, it is about social intelligence. You use a hedge to be diplomatic and polite, and you use a booster to show firm authority.
And what happens when a speaker wants to show emotion?
Then they use the final interactional category, which is attitude markers.
Attitude markers.
This is how the speaker expresses their personal feelings to implicitly tell the audience how they should react to the information.
Like starting a sentence by saying, unfortunately, the weather will be bad.
Yes. Unfortunately, surprisingly, importantly, or to be honest,
Okay.
by saying the word surprisingly before presenting a statistic, you are actively signaling to the audience you should feel surprised by this next fact. You are emotionally guiding their reaction.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground here.
We really have.
We have engagement markers to pull the audience into a pseudo-dialogue. We have self-mentions to build solidarity, hedges and boosters to manage certainty, and attitude markers to share emotions.
That's the bridge.
Let's see if our listeners can recall the core difference in that list. Here is a quick prompt for you. Think about your daily conversations. What is the fundamental difference between a hedge and a booster? See if you can think of one simple example of each. Take a moment, 4-second pause. Okay, if you remembered that a hedge shows polite uncertainty, like the words might or perhaps, and a booster shows strong certainty, like the words definitely or clearly, then you are tracking perfectly with us.
Excellent. Now that we understand the two halves of our system, the map of interactive markers and the bridge of interactional markers, let's look at how absolute professionals use these tools together in the real world.
This is where theory turns into practice, because the way you use these markers changes entirely depending on your context.
Very true.
Let's analyze our first real-world scenario, professional presentations.
Okay.
Imagine a famous, highly produced TED-style talk on a big stage in front of thousands of people. How do elite public speakers manipulate metadiscourse?
Well, when linguists analyze highly successful stage presentations, they find that the speakers are trying to construct a very specific, carefully balanced interpersonal style.
Okay.
We describe this style as equal, close, and orderly.
Equal, close, and orderly. Let's break that down. How do they achieve the orderly part?
To make a complex argument orderly, they rely heavily on the interactive map markers we discussed first.
Ah, right.
They signpost their arguments clearly with frames and transitions, but the real magic is how they make a massive auditorium feel equal and close. They do this by relying incredibly heavily on engagement markers.
They are asking rhetorical questions to the audience.
Constantly. They will say things like, if you look at this graph, or imagine you are standing in a forest.
Right.
This is a highly deliberate strategy. Public speaking often deals with massive abstract ideas, like global economics or future technologies. By constantly using engagement markers, the speaker forces the abstract concept to feel concrete and immediately relevant to the listener's personal life.
They pull you onto the stage with them.
Exactly.
Do they use a lot of self-mentions as well to build that equal feeling?
Very frequently, particularly the inclusive we. A famous example from a well-known stage talk features the speaker asking the audience, who are we not to dance?
Oh, wow.
All right, using we in a moment like that creates a shared emotional journey. It communicates we are all in this human experience together.
That's powerful. What about hedges and boosters? If I am standing on a brightly lit stage in front of thousands of people, do I hedge my bets? Do I say, perhaps my research might be correct?
No, you generally avoid that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, analysis shows that professional public speakers use significantly fewer hedges than we use in everyday casual conversation.
And the psychological reason for that is authority.
Exactly. On a professional stage, a speaker must project unwavering confidence and authority. They're relying on logic and credibility.
Oh.
If a speaker stands on a stage and relies too heavily on hedges, saying perhaps this might possibly be a good idea, the audience immediately loses trust in their expertise.
Because they sound unsure.
Right. A stage speaker needs boosters. They need confident, definitive statements to persuade a large crowd.
You want your expert on stage to sound certain. But let's contrast that stage environment with our second real-world scenario.
Okay.
Digital edutainment.
Oh, this is a great comparison.
Right. I am talking about YouTube learning videos, or maybe mental health content created for platforms like TikTok or Instagram. The digital screen is a completely different psychological environment from a formal stage.
It is entirely different, and the language reflects that shift perfectly. On a physical stage, the speaker is literally physically elevated above the audience.
Yeah.
But on a video platform, the creator is usually staring directly into a camera lens in their bedroom or small studio.
Yeah.
They want to build what psychologists call a parasocial bond.
Let's define a parasocial bond for our listeners, just in case.
Huh.
It is the phenomenon of feeling a deep personal connection with a media figure through a screen, even though you have never met them in real life.
Right.
It feels exactly like a friendship, even though it is completely one-sided.
Yes. And video creators construct this powerful bond using very specific metadiscourse choices. Unlike stage speakers who need to project formal, distant authority, video creators use incredibly high amounts of direct questions and second-person address.
So they use the words you and your almost constantly.
Relentlessly. A mental health video script might start immediately with, "Do you struggle with a fear of abandonment?" Or, "Have you ever felt exhausted by your own thoughts?"
Whoa, yeah.
They are looking directly into the camera lens, creating the illusion of eye contact and demanding the viewer's emotional participation.
It is that pseudo-dialogue again. But optimized for the internet feels incredibly personal, almost intimate.
Furthermore, digital creators heavily utilize those inclusive pronouns. They will say, "We all have terrible habits we want to break."
Yeah.
This achieves something crucial for digital media. It intentionally removes the expert pedestal.
The expert pedestal, meaning they actively step down from being the all-knowing, perfect teacher and position themselves as the supportive, slightly flawed friend.
Precisely. By validating the viewer's emotional reality using we and you, they make complex or intimidating topics feel highly accessible and entirely free of stigma.
That makes so much sense.
The metadiscourse language choices literally dictate the emotional atmosphere of the video.
It is genuinely amazing how much power these small, seemingly invisible words have. I mean, a simple shift from a formal frame like one might experience anxiety to a direct engagement marker like you might experience anxiety changes the entire feeling of the message.
It's night and day.
Let's test our listeners' understanding of this digital strategy. Imagine you're creating a YouTube video right now, and your topic is learning English. What is one direct question you could ask the camera in the first 5 seconds to instantly engage your audience and build that parasocial bond? Take a few seconds. 3-second pause. If you ask something relatable, like, do you ever completely freeze when a native speaker talks to you? Or have you ever felt embarrassed by your accent?
Oh, those are great.
Yeah. If you did that, you are perfectly using an engagement marker to build that digital bridge.
It is a highly effective communication style.
Yeah.
But we need to address a catch here.
A catch? What kind of catch?
Well, both of the scenarios we just analyzed, the TED-style talk and the YouTube video, involve significant planning.
Right.
A stage presentation is written and rehearsed for months. A video is scripted, read from a teleprompter, and carefully edited.
And that is not how most of us use English. When I am talking to a colleague in the hallway or answering an unexpected question in a fast-paced meeting, I do not have time to write a perfect script with elegant transitions and well-placed engagement markers.
No, of course not.
My brain is generating the language in real time. So what happens to metadiscourse in unscripted, spontaneous spoken English?
Spontaneous spoken English is messy, and it requires a completely unique set of metadiscourse markers. This is because of the fundamental constraint of real-time speech. You have zero planning time.
Zero.
Your brain is building the road while you are driving on it.
That is exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
So what kind of markers do we see in these unscripted uh-oh moments?
The most common and useful ones are what linguists call repairing and reformulating markers.
Repairing and reformulating. Fixing the road while driving. What does a repair marker sound like?
Repairing is when you make a factual mistake or say a word you didn't mean, and you halt the sentence to fix it immediately.
Okay.
You might hear a native speaker say, I told him on Tuesday. Sorry, I meant Thursday.
Right.
Or I didn't mean to say that out loud. What I meant was you are intentionally stopping the forward flow of the discourse to repair a breakdown in communication.
And how is reformulating different from repairing?
Reformulating is slightly more nuanced. You didn't necessarily make an error, but halfway through your sentence, you realize your explanation is too confusing. So you offer a better alternative on the fly.
Huh.
You might say, actually, let me rephrase that. Or let me put it this way. Or maybe a better way to explain this is, you are adjusting your own argument in real time.
This brings up another interesting type of marker that you only ever hear in live spoken interactions. It is about checking the physical environment.
Yes. This is known as managing comprehension or channel. Because you have a live breathing audience in front of you, even if it is just one person across a cafe table, you need to verify that the physical and mental channel of communication is open and working.
Like asking, can you hear me clearly in the back of the room?
Exactly. Or to check mental comprehension, asking, does that make sense so far? Or are you following me? Or am I explaining this clearly?
You cannot do that in a written essay or a pre-recorded video.
No.
These markers exist entirely because there is a live human being reacting to you.
Right.
I want to pause here and highlight a truly crucial insight for our listeners who are learning English.
Yeah.
A lot of learners feel terrible when they stumble or make a mistake while speaking. They stop, their heart rate goes up, they panic, and they feel like they have failed at fluency.
It's so common to feel that way.
But the reality is, native English speakers use repair and reformulating markers constantly, every single day. Making a mistake is not a failure.
I completely agree. In fact, if you make a mistake and you smoothly use a repair marker, if you confidently say, actually, let me put it this way, that is a hallmark of advanced C1 level fluency. It shows you are driving the car. Being able to navigate your own mistakes smoothly proves that you are in total control of the language.
Yes.
Perfection is not the goal of speaking. Effective communication is the goal. Repair markers are the tools that keep the communication flowing smoothly despite the bumps in the road.
It demonstrates high-level linguistic awareness. It shows you are actively monitoring both your own message and your listener's level of understanding simultaneously.
It is incredibly empowering to realize that saying, let me rephrase that, is not a sign of poor English, but actually a sign of a highly skilled communicator navigating complex thoughts.
Exactly.
We have explored a vast landscape of language today. We've revealed the invisible words that make English flow logically and emotionally. I think it'd be helpful to do a slow, clear summary of the core concepts we have covered.
I think that's a great idea. Let's build the map one last time.
Please do! Metadiscourse is the secret to sounding fluent, organized, and engaging. We divide it into two primary areas. First, we have interactive markers.
The map.
Right. These are the signposts that build the logical map for the listener's brain. They include frame markers to establish structure and expectations, transitions to build logical bridges between ideas, code glosses to simplify difficult vocabulary, and endophoric markers to manage the listener's memory.
Okay, that is the map. What about the bridge?
The second area is interactional markers. These build the relationship with your audience.
Right.
They include engagement markers to pull the listener into a pseudo-dialogue, self-mentions to build solidarity and reduce distance, hedges and boosters to carefully manage your level of certainty and authority, and attitude markers to express your emotions and guide the listener's reactions.
The map and the bridge. When you master using them together, you transform into a speaker that people naturally want to listen to.
Yep.
But before we finish our time together today, I want to leave our listeners with a fascinating, somewhat provocative thought to ponder on their own.
Oh, I love a provocative thought. What are you thinking about?
Think deeply about your native language, whatever it happens to be. Every culture around the world uses metadiscourse, but they use it very differently.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Does your native culture naturally use a lot of direct, strong boosters in business settings? Or is your culture one that highly values politeness and indirectness, relying heavily on soft hedges? Do you naturally use the inclusive we, as frequently as English speakers do, to build quick solidarity?
That is a profoundly important observation. Cultural norms dictate how we manage interpersonal relationships, which means they dictate our metadiscourse.
Exactly. So here is the thought. When you are speaking English, if you translate your thoughts directly from your native language without adjusting these invisible markers for an English-speaking context,
Yeah.
you might accidentally be changing your entire personality.
Oh, that's so true.
If you come from a direct culture and translate too many boosters, an American or British colleague might perceive you as aggressive.
Right.
If you come from an indirect culture and translate too many hedges, they might perceive you as timid or lacking confidence.
Learning English meta-discourse isn't just about memorizing new vocabulary. It is about learning how to present your true, authentic personality accurately within a new cultural framework.
It is about making sure the English version of you sounds like the real you.
That's beautifully said.
And to help you master this translation of personality, we have a call to action. We encourage you to practice recognizing this invisible language for at least 10 minutes every single day.
Here is your specific homework assignment. The next time you watch an English video online or sit in a presentation at work, take out a pen.
A physical pen.
Yes, a physical pen. Do not just listen to the facts. Listen closely to the management of the language.
Right.
Write down 3 signposts or engagement markers that the speaker uses. Notice exactly how they transition smoothly between topics. Notice how they pull the audience in.
And then, the most crucial step, take the phrases you wrote down and force yourself to use them in your own sentences tomorrow.
Yes.
Try using, in other words, in an email, or let me rephrase that, in a meeting. Write them down and test them out in the real world.
It is the absolute fastest way to make the invisible language visible and to take your English fluency to the next level.
Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with us today. Keep practicing those natural transitions, keep listening for the road signs, and we will catch you on the next journey.